Sorry, guys. I'm going to do a quick weather update here for you. That I'm going to go home. All right. So overall, the weather, while I mean there are some areas of really heavy downpours, the overall weather, really isn't just that terribly bad. The biggest concern to me is flooding that's taking place, that could take place in some areas. And there's a couple of bands of storms that have some gusty winds in it. You might see some of those down towards Young County or see some of that in Throckmorton County. Then there might be some storms coming in behind this stuff here late tonight, early tomorrow morning that might have a little hail in them, but it doesn't like anything major. So if you're worried about the weather and you're contemplating on going to bed, I'm going to tell you now that you're okay to go to bed. Okay, this is not anything, there's nothing tornadic out there. This is not anything to be super duper concerned about here. Well, we don't have many people on right now anyway, so apparently people aren't that concerned with the weather. So we are. I'm going to go full screen with this and kind of do a little quick radar update for you. And this will be on my Facebook page. You can go back and watch it if you want to. I'm not going to be on here super long. I will try to answer a question or two. Out there tonight, widespread storms that really extend from over here near Amarillo, even back west of Amarillo to Lubbock, all the way through Abilene and into North Texas and into central Oklahoma. These extend across a good part of southern Oklahoma into the Arklatex, and then they go all the way over into Mississippi tonight. Pretty large area of storms. It's just basically what's happened is you've got a fairly weak but slow-moving storm system. In addition to that, you've got a lot of moisture. I mean, a whole lot of tropical moisture that is in place across much of the southern United States tonight. Thankfully, our wind shear isn't any stronger because we probably would have had more significant severe weather with the amount of energy that we had in the atmosphere here. And that energy is being unleashed tonight. And again, you've got multiple areas of storms. I don't see how we can avoid flooding, at least in some locations. You can see some warnings out, both severe and flash flood warnings out east of Ardmore over there in north of Durant, south central Oklahoma. There's been a lot of heavy rain up in Oklahoma City tonight. That's kind of shifted over there in Tulsa area. But then you come down here into our area, southern Oklahoma. This extends from about Chickasha all the way down to the Red River and now increasing down into parts of Clay and Montague County, a lot of heavy rain. And I really don't see how there's not a flash flood warning in effect for parts of Jefferson County. That is some really heavy rain. The heaviest rain is now east of Duncan, east of 81 there in Stevens County. Still raining heavily for a little while longer in Waurika, but the back edge of that's about to come through there soon. Heaviest rain have now shifted out of the Lake Waurika area and just some showers and rumbles of thunder up towards Lawton here. None of that is severe. In fact, there are no severe thunderstorm warnings, at least with this clump of thunderstorms here like we were seeing earlier. Storms are pretty decently building down to the south into Montague County. Some of these storms just north of Duncan here. And you probably have, let me increase the data here. So you probably do have, there's your outflow boundary or front kind of right there. You can kind of see it. So as that sinks to the south, these thunderstorms develop just kind of along and north of it here. It kind of extends like this. And you got a little bit of a boundary probably in here too. Little thunderstorms actually developed over St. Joe. Any of these little storms that can develop out ahead of this might produce a little bit of hail, but that it doesn't look like anything major with that either. So, and there could be, even in this area of real heavy rain, there could be a little small hail in that too. As far as winds go, it looks like some fairly decent winds perhaps there just north of Nocona. With that part of the thunderstorm area there, that's on the edge of the radar, so it's always so hard to tell. I can try to look at it from out of Oklahoma City, try to look at it from out of Fort Worth, and then there it is from out of Frederick, and it's just real hard to see. But it looks like there's still some decent winds there at that part of the storm, just north of Nocona, and maybe some of that there in the southeastern part of Jefferson County, perhaps. So that's a pretty intense little area of storms there. Then you go over into Clay County, some heavy rain over the Henrietta, maybe some very small hail there in parts of Clay County. Storms have developed south into the Lake Arrowhead area. Here in Wichita Falls, we've really missed out on a lot of the action here this evening. Imagine that. There's been a lot of storms east of us. There's been a lot of storms north of us there. Heavy rain in Burke earlier. Some heavy rain over there near Henrietta, but nothing really over us. There's some little showers trying to pop up just south of Lakeside City. It might move over Lakeside City in the Wichita Falls area shortly. But this bigger area storms will probably continue to shift east of us here. Then we go down to the south, and you got another little wave of storms down here moving through Throckmorton and up to about Seymour. Although these storms here and these storms up here are really gobbling up. There's not a whole lot of energy left out there between the two. So you do got some downpours in this, maybe some gusty winds, and that's going to move over into Young County. So I wouldn't be surprised to see some severe thunderstorm warnings come out for parts of Young County, maybe south of Albany, maybe over towards Graham. If we look at the winds in that, these storms have been the strongest on radar tonight, but they still have some little areas of gusty winds in them, but nothing major there, not like it was earlier. Those extend all the way down towards Abilene. Some pretty heavy storms down that way with some hail. But then you get to these storms behind it. So these are the storms behind those main areas, and they're really increasing some here. These storms, gobble up a lot of what we call surface-based instability here. These will be what we call elevated thunderstorms back here. There'll be thunder, lightning, heavy rain, and maybe a little hail as they make their way east, northeast overnight tonight. They're kind of scattered. They may bunch up some, but sporadic little bouts of mostly small hail with those and sporadic downpours with that possible. So again, to kind of sum things up for you here, we got a couple of waves of storms we're watching here tonight. We got a wave of storms that's basically up. Oh, come on. That's basically kind of here. And these are going to kind of develop down into here, I think. Then you got another wave kind of back in through here. And they're going to kind of move in this direction here. You kind of got a little bit of a gap or a little bit of a lull in this area here. Probably not seeing too much in the way of intense activity there. Maybe a little increase in some showers and storms, and that might make its way into Wichita Falls. Then you got this area back here. There's elevated little hail-producing thunderstorms. They're going to move east-northeast behind this initial activity into the early morning hours of Memorial Day. So there may even be a few storms around first thing in the morning, but I think a lot of this activity will get out of here. Maybe a break in the action tomorrow. Could be some more tomorrow night or tomorrow afternoon. We'll see how it all plays out. But that's really it. So overnight for the remainder of the night, a little flooding, maybe a wind gust or two, and maybe a little hail here or there. But other than that, I don't have anything too major severe weather-wise here in the forecast. Certainly not forecasting tornadoes. So if you are contemplating on going to bed, maybe a little bit nervous about weather, with thunder and all moving through, I can tell you now, go to bed. There's nothing to be worried about. Nothing at all to be worried about here. And just some downpours, maybe gusty winds, a little small hail, and maybe some flooding. If you live in a flood-prone area, you might want to keep an eye on that. But otherwise, not too bad. Nope, nothing to be worried about in Vernon, Texas. Nothing at all. Like I say, maybe a little small hail overnight tonight. Yeah, that's what that area of storms, Becky, moving through. That's that one area we're watching up there. Yeah, a lot of heavy rain moving through Jefferson County now. But again, just heavy rain and some gusty winds. That is it. Stephenville. Okay, those storms are a long way from you, but I do think some gusty winds into the Stephenville area toward morning. Strong gusty winds with that line of thunderstorms. Nothing tornadic, just some gusty winds. That's it. Marlow, I think so. Maybe some showers of thunderstorm activity overnight, but nothing too major. In fact, like I say, I'm not even going to stay here overnight tonight. Usually if it were a serious situation, I would be here. Thank you, Audrey. I appreciate it. If I were going to, if I considered this being a major, situation, I would stay here overnight tonight. Yeah, Joey, there's a pretty good area of storms just west of you, moving through Throckmorton County now that may get into the Graham area, perhaps maybe after midnight there. It's not moving very fast, but could be some gusty winds with that and some downpours and maybe some small hail, but it doesn't look too bad, but the wind could blow pretty good with that. So, but that's your main threat there. You're welcome, Chastity. Heather Ferguson is asking again from Stephenville. I was just talking about that earlier. Stephenville, I would expect a pretty good line of thunderstorms in your area toward morning, after midnight. So if I'm looking at radar right now, And those storms are a long way from you, and they're not moving very fast. But yeah, I would think that there would be a pretty good, it'll be called MCS or area storms that would develop with some gusty winds that should move down that way, after midnight into the early morning hours. Main concern in the Stephenville area, again, would be some strong gusty winds and maybe a little hail. I don't think you got to worry about tornadoes or anything like that. I'm looking at those storms now that they're actually kind of have a little bit of a supercell look. They're near or just east of Abilene, but I think that those are going to bunch up with those storms north of there. Plus, they're behind the outflow boundary, so they're going to mostly be just some downpours and some gusty winds and maybe some small hail there. Actually, seeing a little bit of an increase in some of these little pop-up showers between Henrietta and Seymour now, and that could develop into Wichita Falls maybe. But still could be some flooding overnight tonight. So that's what we're mainly concerned with. So, Thomas, just there's not a whole lot here right now, and I don't think there's going to be a whole lot over us, to be honest about it. But I think late tonight after midnight there'll be some thunderstorms that'll kind of move in. You may hear some claps of thunder, see some flashes of lightning, maybe some downpours, maybe some pea-sized hail or something like that. So, but nothing that you can't go to sleep. If I were you, I definitely would go to bed. I wouldn't. If you're thinking about not going to bed because you're worried about weather, don't worry about it. Telling you now, you're going to be fine. So Ali Applegate. So you're asking about Bowie. There's storms actually developing all around you right now. So I would expect an increase, perhaps in some thunderstorm area activity over that way in the next, 1 to 2 hours, perhaps. Maybe a little hail and some downpours, maybe some gusty winds, but that's about it. Most of the hail would be small too. Like I said, we got some showers and thunder showers now developing down in Archer County, and they'll live north. So we might see some of that into Wichita Falls here, maybe a little while, but nothing major there either. It's raining big in Kroll now. So let me look at Kroll. The radar didn't really show anything heavy in Kroll. There's some showers that just push through, but nothing super heavy. There's some pretty big storms kind of south of you, but I don't know that they're going to make it there. They may go more east than go towards you, maybe. Yeah, go ahead and put your kiddo to bed over there, Alexis, for talking about Denton. There are some storms that are well north of you. And there may be, again, I think there will be some thunderstorms developing, after midnight. There may even be some lightning not too far away from you because of what we call anvil lightning from those thunderstorms. But those thunderstorms are a long way away. You might see some development take place over there, after midnight. But the main area storms probably doesn't get to you until very early in the morning. The main concern would be a little hail and some gusty winds. So go ahead and put your kiddo to bed, and I think you'll be fine. You're welcome, Carrie. That's why I got on here. I just felt like that I needed to, before I went home, I needed to, give you guys a quick little update before I went home, because I know people are all worried about the weather and whatnot. So, that's why I wanted to jump on here. Though it's moving so slow because the upper level winds are really weak in the atmosphere. Usually you have strong winds, jet stream winds that blow these storm systems across quickly. And these storms will move more quickly than they are, but the upper level winds are really slow, and they're really fairly weak, so they're not going to move very fast. So that's why they're moving so slow. All right, I'm about to jump off now, guys. And the good news about social media, if I need to do an update, if things change, I can always jump on from home. So. Yeah, you're just getting some good rain there. I don't think it'd be more than the heaviest rain's about to move out of there too. So that's good. All right, guys, I'm jumping off tonight. Y'all have a great night, and you're welcome, Veronica. And y'all have a good night, and sleep well, and have a happy Memorial Day. Should be cooler tomorrow, but I don't know if there'll be a lot of rain around. There might be some around in the morning there. Some indications late in the afternoon there could be another little wave, but I think a lot of the energy is going to be zapped from these storms we're getting tonight. So I don't know that we're going to see a lot. There could be some tomorrow night too. So. Yeah, there's a lot of storms north of you there, north of Munster, and I do expect storms to be building into that area over the next several hours. So I do expect that to be the case. Dean, quickly before I get off of here, There's thunderstorms developing around you, just some downpours, but that's really about it. No severe storms there. Matter of fact, again, I don't expect many severe thunderstorms overnight. Maybe a random one here or there, but that's about it. And it'd be for primarily some gusty winds and some downpours, or maybe a little bit of hail. But that's about it, though. All right, y'all. Sleep well tonight, and y'all have